I'm going to start with a movie called Black Sunday, 1977. Not to be confused with another movie called Black Sunday that I think came out in the 60s or whenever. It's a Mario Bava movie. It's a horror movie. This is not the movie we're talking about. I'm talking about 1977's Black Sunday, directed by John Frankenheimer, who directed the original Manchurian Candidate. He directed Ronin, and he also directed Island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh wow!
Which is a legendary movie, which I will hopefully be able to put on the shelf one day, just because it's so bad.
That's quite a resume.
Yeah. Let me read the back of the box to you.
Yes.
The powerful story of a terrorist group attempting to blow up a Goodyear blimp hovering over the Super Bowl with 80,000 people and the President of the United States in attendance. Tagline: It could be tomorrow.
Assuming that the Super Bowl happens tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. It can only really happen one day a year.
Yeah.
Now, the last, mainly why I'm recommending this movie, it's a pretty standard 70s terrorism thriller for the most part. But the last 30 or 40 minutes of this movie take place at the Super Bowl. And what's really interesting about this is they actually shot it at Super Bowl X.
Wow.
And they shot a good portion of that game on film for the movie. There are several scenes that are shot either on the sidelines during the game or in the stands also during the game, the actual Super Bowl.
Wow. Huh.
There was a scene at the opening kickoff that Robert Shaw was shooting right off on the sidelines. And the opening kickoff, I think, went a lot further than most opening kickoffs, or the return went a lot further than most opening kickoffs did. So the play actually ended directly behind him. There are people getting tackled directly behind him, and the shot is right on Robert Shaw, and he doesn't break character at all. He keeps staring directly away from it. It's such a great shot.
Wow.
But it's the opening kickoff of Super Bowl X in the background of this shot. There's another scene where Shaw is this might be my favorite in the movie, where Shaw is running from section to section trying to track somebody down. This is during the real Super Bowl. He's pushing people out of the way, running through the crowd and knocking into people and stuff. And they're like, what the fuck is this, And meanwhile, it's Robert Shaw. Keep in mind, this movie came out 6 months after Jaws.
Yeah.
So there's a point, or maybe it was shot. It was shot 6 months after Jaws was released. Okay. The Super Bowl was in January back in those days, and Jaws had come out the previous summer. And there's a point where the group that sang the national anthem, which was called Up With People, which was, I don't know if you've ever heard of this group.
It does ring a bell, actually.
It's like a Christian-ish pop choir. So they sing it's like a 50-person choir, and they sing songs that are right up to the line of being religious, but they're mainly just I don't know, Hair the Musical type shit.
Right.
But they're walking off there's a real long shot from up in the stands, and Robert Shaw is standing in the corner of the end zone as this Up With People group is walking off the field after the halftime show, and Robert Shaw is doing his thing he's a counterterrorism agent looking all tough, and you can see, if you look closely enough, you can see the people in the group walking off the field going kind of pointing at him that's the fucking guy from Jaws. That's definitely the guy from Jaws. He's
amazing.
Right there.
Amazing.
If you're a football fan, and especially if you're interested in football history, this is a really interesting piece of football history, NFL history. It's amazing that they got the footage that they did, and it's amazing actually how good it is.
Yeah.
And I asked myself, could they do this today?
I don't know that they could.
That's what you would think immediately, right?
Well, as soon as you said that this was filmed at a real Super Bowl, my first thought was, I've heard of movies filming at rock concerts for musical biopics and whatnot, and they leverage the crowd that's actually at the concert. But when it comes to sports, you think back to The Dark Knight Rises, for instance, which was made to. They were trying to go for a real football game, and the stadium is a quarter full at best because there's not a game taking place,
right.
and
it's hard to fill a football stadium if there's not a football game.
Hugely difficult.
Yeah.
But boy, a Super Bowl has
It's already filled.
Yeah, close to 100,000 fans. So
80,000 according to the back of the box.
Right.
It could happen today, I think.
Yeah.
But it would be very different. It would be like it would be a big like cross promotional thing, like Mission Impossible at the Super Bowl or some shit like that. Like I could see that happening at some point.
Yeah.
But like the way it happened back then, no, I don't think it would. Like if you did it now, there'd be just a lot of shots of the crowd like really enjoying Doritos or whatever the corporate sponsorship was. Like it would be a lot more, staged. But this seemed like almost like off the cuff. Like what would happen if we showed up and decided to shoot a movie at the Super Bowl,
right.
without telling anybody.
So I'm holding the box here and I'm looking at the picture on the front, and it seems to depict the blimp crashing into the stadium. Now,
yeah.
Does that happen in the movie?
No, it flies into the stadium, like above the stadium,
Okay.
and their plan is to explode it while it's above the stadium, and it's going to shoot all these like gun darts. It's going to shoot, I think, like 200,000 gun darts into the stadium.
Oh wow, sophisticated.
So, yeah, which is actually like saying that out loud. It's like, well, the NFL would maybe they'll shoot a movie at the Super Bowl, but I don't think they'd ever allow like to have a movie where people were in danger at a football game. So like that would never be allowed to happen. But yeah, that's the idea. It's going to like, blow up and then everybody gets a dart in the face or whatever.
And it sounds like there are darts to spare because it doesn't.
Yeah, well, yeah. One dart probably isn't going to kill everybody.
Right.
I guess the idea is you kill a lot of people, not everybody.
Wow. I wonder how accurate the trajectory of, what is it? Dishonorable discharge to blimp pilot is, because I've always wondered how one becomes a blimp pilot.
Well, it sounds like if you were a pilot in the Army and did something bad, then yeah, maybe that's one way to get the blimp gig.
It actually seems like a prestigious gig to me.
It seems like that's something you would retire to, like semi-retirement. Like,
Right.
You know what? I retired from the military. I'm taking my retirement, my pension, and I fly blimps on the weekends.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. I think I've heard, and this might be bullshit, but I've heard that there are only like 4 blimps in the world.
Well, back when this movie was made, there were only a few.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's more now, but yeah, there really were only a few in America anyway. They were, they were based in Akron, Ohio, and maybe a couple other places. And it was the same 3 blimps going to all these football games for years.
Wow. Well, I love a football movie. I love a sports in the stands movie. I really love a blimp movie.
Yeah. There's not I wish there was more blimp stuff. Like,
Okay.
There's some blimp stuff, but I could have dealt, like, I would have put up with the full running time. Like, it's like how long is this movie? An hour, or I'm sorry, 143 minutes. So it's a long movie.
Yeah.
I think it would justify that if there was at least like 25 minutes of like high paced blimp stuff. But like, you get a little bit, but not as much as I would have wanted.